Well, hello there. Welcome to the show. It is episode 304, and it is, what is it, 2 minutes past 7 here in the UK, 2 minutes past the hour wherever you may be. And it is the Synth Network show. We are live from mostly in the UK. Our guest isn't, but we'll come to that in a little while. But we've got a great guest, a really exciting story to go through. And if you've got any questions, please do save them up and stick them in the chat. I'll tell you how to do that in just a moment. So before we do anything else and I bring anyone else in, let's just go through the housekeeping stuff. So if you haven't already, do please give us a like, a comment, a subscribe, or a share. Please do subscribe. If you're one of the over 100 subscribers that we've gained in the last sort of 10, 14 days, then welcome, and I hope you enjoy the show. And we look forward to helping you through or into the weekends in a synthesizer fashion. So do stick around, and thanks for subscribing. Make sure you hit that bell so you get some notifications. But if you haven't already, do subscribe now, and you'll get notified if you hit that bell of any upcoming shows. We're here every Friday anyway. But we sometimes do special little shows, as we did just the other week, and we'll talk about that a little bit later as well. And if you'd like to give us a thumbs up during the show, apparently that massages the algorithm quite nicely. Please do give us a like during the show. If you're watching on catch up, you can do it then, and that would be fantastic. And if you know anyone that would appreciate this kind of show, and they don't know about it, then please do share the link around. That would be fantastic. We are a community-based channel. We don't do this for profit. We do this for the love of the technology and the industry and the people that populate it, whether they're performers, developers, manufacturers, and most importantly, users at this level. We're here for you, which means that we do every now and again need a little bit of help. So this is my little cap in hand moment. If you want to help the channel, you can subscribe to our Patreon page. And if you do that, you get lots of free stuff, as well as the warm fuzzy feeling of supporting us. You get things like patches for your hardware and software synthesizers. You get free decent sampler instruments, and there's been some new ones go up in just the last week or so. You get exclusive video content, and you get lots of other things besides. But it's a minimum $2 a month. You can start at any time. You can stop at any time. You can start back up again if you want to. So you're not tied into anything, and every single penny goes to keeping this channel on air. The costs are increasing all the time, so we really, really do appreciate that. So for anyone that's already donated, we are super, super grateful. Thank you very much indeed. Another way that you can help us is if you want to buy some of our merchandise, you can. And we have a whole bunch of things over there. We have t-shirts, hoodies, jumpers, what have we got? Drinks mats, drinks bottles, bikinis, headscarves, all sorts of things with the Synth Network logo on, just like, for example, one of these. See, look, nice little drinks mat. So you can support the channel and sport our logo wherever you see fit. And we're able to take a little bit off the top of the sale of each of those. So thanks to everyone that's already bought merchandise. It's great to see it out in the wild. Hopefully we'll see some more people with PSN t-shirts on at the various shows that we're going to be attending over the next few months. So that'd be great to see those. And that's another way you can help our channel. Of course, the other way is you can also use YouTube channel membership, which works exactly the same as Patreon. It's a minimum $2 a month. You get all of that free stuff, but you just do it through YouTube. So it's entirely up to you. Whichever you feel is most convenient, you can do it that way. Or you don't have to. It's not mandatory. If you want to talk to the community outside of the regular show, then you can do so at our Discord channel, prosynthnetwork.com/Discord. And you can join up there and partake in lots of discussions that are going on there. And we are also across most of the social media networks, the ones we like anyway: Facebook, YouTube, Blue Sky, Twitch, Instagram, and Threads. And we still have a presence on TikTok, although I have no idea why. So we're over there at those places. If you have a question for anybody on the panel today, and in particular our guests, please preface it with a large capital Q. That way we can pick it out and put it into the question bucket, and we'll bring those questions in at the most appropriate time. So if you have a question, and we'd love to hear your questions, please do stick them into the chat, whether you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch. Put a big capital Q in the front. We appreciate that. Thank you very much. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is all of the housekeeping done and out of the way. And I can take a breather because I can start to bring in our panel members, and finally we'll bring in our special guest this week, who are definitely very excited to talk to because of recent activity in the world of synthesizers. Right, let's do this we'll do this in the order that people came into the studio. So first of all, we go all the way up to Scotland, and we find Mr. Scott McAuley of Scott McAuley Sounds, sound designer extraordinaire, music tutor,
hello.
And all
how's everyone doing?
Yeah, very well. Thanks yourself.
Good, very good. Yeah, Bree 6 is finished. I got that
Excellent.
done this week. So, and the form is just about there as well. So I should get them
nice.
both out over the next week, I would imagine. And then, I'll be on to the Delia after that and Korg. And yeah, I think that should be the next two after that. It'll be the multi-poly. Yeah. So yeah, it's been a steady old week again this week. Lots of tutorials. I think I mentioned that last week. I don't know what's happened, but this sort of first January of the year has just been absolutely crazy for tutorials. So
do you think it's New Year's resolutions?
It may well be, or people have been given some money for Christmas and think,
True.
you know what, I'm going to spend it on some lessons. I don't know, but all the better for me. It keeps me gainfully employed. So
exactly,
yeah,
all good
stuff.
To be here. Yeah, well, good to see you as always.
Yep.
We move now further down, sort of in the Midlandsy, southwesty kind of thing. We find near the lovely town of Stroud. It is a town, isn't it, Andrew?
It is. It is a town. It's a lovely town. Lovely town. The best place to live in England in so many polls. It's ridiculous. But they don't know I'm here, so that's why it's. Yeah.
How are you?
Yeah. I'm good. It's been a mad week. Had lots and lots of video to do with one of those, video editing with one of those simple, can you just remove requests, which means you've got to spend days just going through and getting rid of stuff. So, but that's all done. They're very happy. Lots of sound design, ready to launch in a couple of weeks' time, and some videos and such. Lost my camera. I lost my camera. But it's all up and running again, and so it's been one of those weeks which has been unexpectedly techie and a bit more than you thought. But it's good. I'm looking forward to the guests though.
Yes, absolutely. Well, good to have you as always. Now we move a little further south and a little further west to Mr. Jason Jervis, who's there in the Get Jervis studio with Tom suitably positioned behind you.
Let's just
and there.
Look.
That is the space we all want in life.
And I know
a little platform next to an Akai S5000.
S5000, look at that, yeah.
But unfortunately, that guy's hiding under my desk.
Oh,
I mean, you've got a Wickerman signed Wickerman post.
I know. Soft toys, a bed.
Soft toys. His girlfriend's there. Perhaps.
Honestly,
perhaps that's the point.
Good show the other night.
No, thank you very much. Yeah, enjoyed it. Answering the big questions. Let's start and do that now. There, he's come.
Yeah.
Do you want to come and say hi to everyone? Do you want to come in? You do. He's tentatively.
Come on, put him on as a scarf again.
Not in this suit.
Bless him.
But get your claws out, buddy.
Busy week for you?
Oh yes, and ended. I'm still full of cold. And it ended with the closure of the main motorway between work and home, which meant that. Yeah, it's going to be closed until well past 9. So it's really the knock-on effect of any road closures, as anyone will know who has to get in that disease called traffic. Will know that it just has a knock-on effect. So every single route. Thankfully, I was on 2 wheels, so I got home in reasonably good time, but still,
not pleasant.
I'm looking forward to some relaxed.
Yes, it's the weekend. It's the weekend.
Exactly.
Good stuff.
Pineapple.
And lovely. Yes, always good. Always good. Great to have you as always. And last but by no means first, Mr. Kent Spong, wakey wakey. Oh, can't hear you, mate. You haven't turned your microphone on yet. No, you haven't. But it's not coming out here.
He's talking through the CS80. That's what he's doing.
Here we go.
You have to try.
Honestly, for a show full of so-called audio professionals.
I know.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Are you going to try and sort it out, or are you just going to sit there miming? We'll go on. We will. All right, we'll go on. We'll come back to him later.
Welcome to our synth tech.
dear, oh dear. Yeah, it's a good job he does synths and not microphones and mixers. Never mind. Anyway, so let's bring in our guest. Before we do, I just need to mention we have had some donations come in. Oh, thank you ever so much, guys. So let's go top to bottom. Well, Scotty McAuley has done his thing, donated the show number in pounds and pence. Thank you very much indeed. And Andrew's, I don't know where that's from. £6. Oh, six. Right. Okay. Yeah. Right. Okay. Clement Clotar, thank you very much indeed for your super sticker. Very appreciated. And of course, to our Australian friend there, 20 Australian dollars. Thank you very much indeed. And to Ronald Wild, thank you very much indeed for your €5.99 in euros. That is all super, super appreciated. So thank you very much to every single one of you that have donated there. We are incredibly grateful for that. Hello to everyone in the chat, by the way, because I haven't said hello to you. And hello to our moderator tonight, who is, he's becoming quite the usual moderator. It's Steve Elbows. He will be looking after the chat, so behave yourselves, be good, otherwise his banhammer will come out and he'll be swinging it like a good one. So look after the chat room, Steve. I don't know if our other moderators know. Andy Synth Addict is, I think he was in San Diego the other day because he'd been to NAMM and then he'd gone a little bit south to San Diego Zoo, which I think he used to work at. I might be wrong. So I don't know if he's back home yet. And we all know that Andy Brooks is taking a bit of a sabbatical. So hello, Andy, if you're watching. Also, hello to Nick. If Nick is watching, Nick's one of the regulars. He's definitely one of our probably most avid question makers in the chat. But Nick has been not very well of late. And I know that for the last week or two, he's been watching from his hospital bed. So I don't know whether he's home yet. I haven't heard. But if you are, Nick, I hope you're well, and I hope everything's going okay for you. And we'll look forward to hearing from you again very soon. And as I've been saying all that, we've had some more donations. Hello, Mike. He's back from NAMM, and he's back with his family, and he's made a donation, and he's now saving up, I'm sure, because he's coming over to Synth Southwest, which is taking place on the 21st of March. More on that a little bit later on. But Mike is going to be one of our 4 performers on the in the evening gig, so we'll look forward to that. And thank you to Mike Martin for your donation as well. Great to see you here, Mike, and hope to hear more of your work very, very soon indeed. Right, okay, now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and dogs, we want to welcome our very special guest. He's been on the show before, but we love having him back. He's how do I build this gentleman up? He's an industry stalwart. I think that's probably the nice way to put it. He's been around a very, very long time, but he doesn't look it. He looks fresh as a daisy, especially for somebody who's come back from a super successful NAMM. It is the one and the only Mr. Glen Darcey.
Yay!
Good morning. That's right. Yeah, it's morning. It's 11:15 there, isn't it?
Yeah, so early.
You're on the West Coast. Yeah. Good stuff. Well, listen. First of all, congratulations on a successful NAMM. Thank you ever so much for joining us today, because you've had a little event in the last few days.
Remind me what that was.
You've had probably what is one of the most hotly anticipated synthesizers in the last, since the last one that you put out. I think it's safe to say. Congratulations on the launch of that wonderful green illuminated. Well, you've got one of each there. Look at that. The Leviasynth. It's here finally. We've been waiting a long time for this.
Yeah, me too.
Before we get into the whole
you're
thing,
kicking my desk, so that's why we're not having an earthquake in California. No.
Oh yeah, that'd be crazy, wouldn't it? Live earthquake. Before we get into Leviasynth, how are you? I mean, you've just come back from NAMM, which was obviously very busy because that was tacked on the end of that. You had Buchler and Friends, so you're kind of running 2 events fairly close together. But was it a good week for you?
It was a great week. Yeah. It starts off with a bunch of our team all coming together. So we get Ken from Delaware, we get Dominic and Fanny who owns the company from Hong Kong. We get some of our engineers and QA people from Shanghai, and we all get together, and we've got all of our LA crew that's scattered throughout. So we all get together. It's like one of those rare times per year where you actually get to see people face to face instead of on
on Zoom,
or email or
yeah,
or something. So it's always good to get together with the team on that. We do a big team dinner, and we include even more people in that. So yeah, it's always a good time.
Good, excellent. And the show itself, NAMM, obviously, it's the biggest trade show in this industry. Did it go well? Did you have many people visiting your stand? Anyone of note?
We had one or two people. Actually, no, the booth was slammed. Yeah. If I look the worse for wear, it's because I'm still recovering from it all. I mean, it was an incredible turnout there. Every Leviasynth, every Diosynth totally had people on it. Every Hydrosynth, probably the whole show. There was, we could probably add up the 3 days, and maybe there was an hour where there wasn't a crazy number of people going on there. So it was very good. I got to, give Stevie Wonder a demo, and
I know, right?
You kind of guide his hand over it, so I got to hold hands with Stevie Wonder, which was pretty awesome.
That's something you can.
Not many people get to say.
Yeah.
We had the fabulously talented Scott Kinsey.
Oh yes, we know Scott.
Amazing jazz player. Him and Chris Fishman, who's the keyboard player for Pat Metheny Group, and I had the two of them were playing Leviasynth, and they were sitting there trading incredible licks back and forth and trying out sounds, and that was a lot of fun. We had another greatly talented guy, John Beasley, who played with Miles Davis, Freddie Hubbard. Does a lot of music direction gigs, plays with Thomas Newman and stuff, and so he was there as well. So yeah, it was pretty cool. There was
Kayla there as well, who's done the demo video for you, and
Kayla and Joe. They both did a performance demo there. Had another artist of ours, Divine Touch. He and his significant other did a great performance at the booth as well. So yeah, it was a lot. I didn't get out to really see anything on the show floor because I just went from meeting to meeting to meeting to meeting.
Sure, yeah, that's the trouble with these things, isn't it? It's all busy, and just no time to actually indulge and have a little bit of fun yourself. But
and they moved NAMM from 4 days to 3 days. So
yeah,
the fourth day used to be a little sparse at the show, but it was nice because that's when you could actually get out of the booth and go see new products and do the friend hangout. For us old guys who've done NAMM for I forget how many years now, more than 40. It's like a family reunion. So
I bet
there's so many people that I get to see that I've known for so long that it's kind of a special event in that alone.
Yeah. Well, of course, you had this amazing stand that had not only the legend that is the Hydrosynth, but two new instruments, of course, one being Leviasynth, the other one being Diosynth, and they're both distinctly different things, appeal to different markets. But of course, we'll talk about Diosynth a little bit later, because I know that's one that's kind of close to your heart personally, being a wind player, for many years. But let's dive into Leviasynth now. We've done a review of it, and we've talked about it at length, so we kind of know what it is. It's an 8 oscillator algorithmic synth, and of course people instantly think FM just because they see the word algorithm there. But you told me sometime last year that you always wanted to make an FM synth, but this is not an FM synth. Can you explain yourself, Mr. Darcey?
Do I have to explain myself? So I happen to be an FM synth lover. I know you can hold that against
all the
me.
Best of, yeah.
And I've been doing it since '84. I think I took the same class that Manny Fernandez took with Clark Spangler.
Oh yes,
great light there from my window. So I took this FM class. I still have the DX9 that they gave you in that class.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I tripped on it in my garage the other day. So, yeah, I've always loved that. So for about 12 years, I'll say, I've been thinking about this. And the thing about FM that everybody hates is that it can be really needly and tweedly to try to get in and do sound design stuff. So it was probably, so I started thinking about 12 years ago about how can I do this? How can I do this? And it was all just UI thinking. And it was about, 5 years after that I kind of came up with the idea of the group oscillator edit section, where it's like, oh, if I can actually just see the main parameters I need, my product development things always let the 90% of the people do the 90% of the things they have to do 90% of the time, put that up in the front. So that kind of I figured, once we can do that, then that should make it a lot easier to edit on. So, we design, or I design everything in Illustrator and Microsoft Word. And, you write a bunch of pages of specs and draw a bunch of pictures and you think, yeah, this might work. And then when you actually get a working prototype and it's like, wow, it did work. Or, oh, crap, it didn't work. And you get both of those on every product. But so that's where it started off. When we started doing the project was probably close to 4 years ago, was when DSP guys started I started writing a spec, then me and Dominic kind of go back and forth. Dominic's the product manager. So Dominic did a lot of the heavy lifting of the spec. I think I did about 30 pages of spec, and then Dominic did 300 pages of spec. I get to paint with a little bit wider paintbrush, not super wide, but a little bit wider. So it was probably 4 years ago that our DSP guys started to say, I think I can do this. Oh, by the way, I think we can do some of the stuff that we did in the Mutants, but we're going to do it a different way. But I think we can do some of that, like the pulse width mod and the phase distortion, all these other things that they started coming up with. And it became really apparent pretty quickly, about probably 2 years ago, that, oh yeah, this is not an FM synth in any way, shape, or form. It's just an over-the-top synth. And in fact, I had Chris Fishman again here yesterday from Pat Metheny tour, and he's going to use one on the tour. And so we were doing some sound design stuff, and you can't see it, but over here I've got an Overhunt 4 voice that Lyle Mays famously used a lot, and we were kind of trying to recreate some of Lyle's sounds. And it was like, oh, it's really easy to do that on the Leviasynth. So, if you're using it all 8 oscillators just as carriers, it's just an 8 oscillator synth with really nice digital filters and really nice analog filters. And I would say that 90% of my own work on it, sound design, is that. Just using it like a subtractive synth. And maybe only 2 oscillators or 1 oscillator at a time.
Because that's
sorry,
go on.
Just to clarify, Glenn, we keep on, and we have all since it's launched, talked about 8 oscillators, but it's 8 oscillators per voice, and there are 16 voices, right?
Yep. And 16 filters, so 1 filter per voice. So it's not like a paraphonic type of thing. So it's 8 oscillators. And there's also per voice, 16 voices. You put it into unison mode with all 16 voices. It's whatever 16 times 8 is. That's well beyond my computing skills right now.
Each of those oscillators has over 300 waveforms to choose from.
Yeah.
And then you've got the algorithms that you can use to give you all sorts of weird and wonderful stuff. And there's 144 of those, plus you're able to design your own custom algorithm per patch. I mean, I was going to ask, you were saying that you were you're drawing images, you were writing things down. and then you've got your DSP guys saying, "Oh, we can do this, but maybe do it slightly differently." Is it a two-way thing that, the DSP guys come and say, "Hey, I've just been able to do this. Do you think you can make use of that?" And then you go to them and say, "I've just got this idea. Can you do that?" Is it kind of a 50-50 thing that you pull each other along, or you make demands of them and then they just get down and try and do it? How does that balance work?
Yeah, it's definitely a back and forth. That's why your engineering team is so critical. There's so many good engineering ideas that come, throughout my product history. I tallied everything up, and Leviasynth was 1 and 2. I count each product.
Okay.
Was my 89th product that I've released in my career.
Bloody hell.
Wow.
Yeah, I've done a few things.
Impressive.
So, yeah, there's always back and forth with the engineering team. You can be the guy that just comes up with a list of, oh, it should do this and it should do this and this and that. But then, we design in reality. We don't design in imagination.
Yeah.
We design in imagination that then gets filtered into reality. So, yeah, that's when, you've got engineers, and if they're good DSP guys, and they'll come up with, oh, here's this other function that we can try. What about this? And we've had a number of features like that over the years, that from a bunch of different projects. I mean, you can go back to this little microbrute up here, which I love the microbrute. There's the sub oscillator that has like this thing that'll kind of blend harmonics on it, and that was the engineer. His name is Bruno. He always liked to be anonymous, but Bruno came up with that idea, and he's like, yeah, I think I can do this. And I was like, let's hear it. He mocked it up and did it, and it's like, yeah, that's awesome. So things like that wasn't my idea. That came out of an engineer.
Yeah. So obviously you've had one of the most successful synthesizers of recent history, with the Hydrasynth. It literally, and I hate to use the term, but it did change the game. It disrupted, as the cool kids say, because you introduced a synthesizer that gave people a new way of approaching synth programming, and a user interface that just made complete sense. With that the modules on the right hand side and the flow and everything. Just it's so obvious how that works, and so it's really kind of easy to get into it. But also, you're the guy, and your company is the company that made polyphonic aftertouch popular again. And now, I mean, here we are 5-6 years later, and we berate synths that don't have it, whereas before it was completely the other way around. So with Leviasynth, what were you looking to do differently to Hydrasynths? But did that cross your mind that we've got to do something that is distinctly different, or do we do something that is a natural progression? What was that sort of thinking?
Yeah, this one was meant to be totally different. There's going to be there's crossover in all synths. I mean, I can, through the other side there, you might see the back of my Prophet 5 that I've had since the 80s. I can do stuff on a Hydrasynth that I can do on a Prophet 5. So there's definitely crossover. Oberheim Expander, I've got crossover with the Hydrasynth and stuff. It's always about how you present a UI, and is there other tonal things that you bring into it. So like, my Oberheim 4 voice, I approach it differently than I approach my Prophet 5 or my Prophet T8, or the Expander, which I approach differently than a Hydrasynth, which I approach differently than a Leviasynth, or Microwave XT or whatever. You approach everything differently, and I think that's where the inspiration comes from. Is if you have a good user interface, that's going to lead you to different workflows and different things.
Yeah. You talked about the development, the DSP guys doing their thing. Was there ever a time when you were designing this synth, coming up with the concept, coming up with prototypes and versions, that your ideas exceeded what you were able to do, and did you have to dial things back at all? How far can you kind of stretch things before you have to say, hey guys, we can't do this, it's not possible, we have to make some compromises?
Well, the whole project was that. So we started off, we knew that it was going to be way higher CPU demand. So we started developing on the deluxe platform.
Okay.
And we got 2 years down that path. And I had the hardest job that I've ever done in my life was I canceled the project. Because Dominic and I had to keep taking features off and cutting things out. And it got to the point where, Ken called me up one day, and we all knew this, but Ken's just like, yeah, man, it's not fun to use and it doesn't sound great. And I'm like, you're right, it doesn't. So I approached the board and said, sorry, 2 years of money that you spent, we're going to cancel this project.
Wow.
And our engineering team came back and said, well, we can develop a whole new platform. And I've been in platform development before, and platform development can be a nightmare because you're developing a subsystem. You're not developing the final product. So platform development, there's one company I know, they spent 8 years on a platform.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, sometimes platforms can go sideways, but they were able to do this, and they developed this new platform for us, which gave us way more CPU overhead. And that was the game changer. So then Dominic and I went to the engineers and said, okay, all those features we cut off, we're adding them all back. So we added them all back in. And one of the features that, I don't remember if it was me or Dominic that came up with the algorithm morphing of like, what if we could just like morph from one algorithm to another and the sound change organically over time. And the engineers came back and said, oh yeah, we can do that on the new platform. Definitely couldn't do that on, that was one of the features that got cut.
I'm glad.
So now we've got way higher CPU overhead. We can run oscillators at much higher frequencies. We can, deal with the aliasing that you'll get within FM and phase distortion and all these other things when you start running high pitches and stuff, high ratios.
Yeah.
So the other platform can all do that now, and it's really fast, and
it is. Yeah, it really is. It's so snappy.
The touch screen and everything's really super responsive.
Yeah, for sure.
That's all hard.
Are you able to do that because you're a small company? If you were one of the larger behemoths of the industry, could they pivot that quickly from, oh my God, our current platform won't do what we want it to do, and we can't put a product out like that, so we have to do something else? Was that possible simply because you are a much more small and agile company compared to the larger people in the industry?
I won't speak for or against them. I've worked for a couple of them, so I kind of know how they do things. Being small allows you to be way more reactive. You can sit there and turn on a dime a little bit more. But being small has its own problems of then you don't have the funding that the big companies have. You don't have this income pad of other products that are still funding you while you're doing this development. So that's why you've seen so many small companies that go under. Even legendary companies, Oberheim went under, and Sequential went under, and Moog went under, and PPG went under. You can go down the list of companies that went under, and a lot of times it was one or two products or a platform development or something that just ended up tanking them.
Yeah, absolutely. So you went for a 61-note keyboard this time, as opposed to, because obviously Hydra launched with the 49, then developed into the larger deluxe, and of course you also had the desktop and the Explorer as well. So you've gone for 61 straight out of the gate with Leviath, and then also the desktop as well. Was that a conscious decision to just go 61 and not follow the same path as the Hydra?
Yeah, for sure. we did Hydra as a 49, partly to keep the costs down, partly because that's where the brunt of the sales typically are in keyboard controllers, because a lot of people don't have a lot of space. There's a whole lot more people that are buying things that live in apartments or don't have their own studio. They're doing this in a bedroom or a spare room or something. They don't have 88 note space or a 73 or even a 61, because we also sell to people that have racks of gear. So people have to justify size and position. So 49 was kind of the key on that. On this product, my favorite is the 73. That's the deluxe. And that probably goes back to my Rhodes 73 and the Prophet T8 that I've always loved to have. 61 was the nice. Well, it's bigger than the 49. You can actually stretch out still on the thing, but it's not as big as that. So we figured we knew it was going to be more expensive, and we figured at the price range that it was going to land at, the people would probably rather have a 61. So did that.
Cool.
We also developed. We also, part of the thing with it is that we've also been working on the key action as well. So Leviasynth has a kind of a new improved version of the Polytouch keybed.
Okay.
So
we're going to ask that, because
when
that
people
seems
play it, they're like, it feels way better, and we're always trying to improve stuff. So.
Yeah, because I know that when Nick reviewed it for Sonic State, he made that comment that it felt different, but not markedly so, but it felt nicer. And I've got Kent's 49 Hydrasynth up here, and so I've had that there for a while because I wanted to compare the two sonically and also physically. I honestly, and maybe it's a testament to my absolute rubbishness at playing these things, I didn't feel a huge amount of difference between the two. They both felt very good. It's not that any of them felt slightly different, but you've just confirmed that for us. So how have you improved the Polytouch keyboard? Because it is on these things, it's great, but how have you made that even better?
Well, a lot of the keyboard action itself is all tolerances and things within the molding. We went to a heavier weight on the key itself, and then you have to balance. Okay, well, if we've got more weight, then we have to balance the spring return on them. So you're trying. I don't know how many different spring tensions we tried on the things. And, me and Dominic and Ken and our manual writer Randy, who's probably the best keyboard player of our group.
Right.
We were all changing out springs on these things and going, I like this one better. No, I like this one better. So, with keybed actions, it's one of those things. It's like guitars. So who makes the best guitar neck? Is it Fender?
It's just subjective, really,
is it a Strat, or is it a Tele, or is it a Les Paul, or is it a Gretsch? Who makes the best one? It's like
and also the Leviasynth features the note off ability that the Hydrasynth Deluxe introduced, because it's not on the first one, was it?
Correct. Yeah.
So that adds a level of expression and playability into it as well, doesn't it? Guys, by the way, if you have any questions, please do let me know and throw them in. I don't want to hog Glenn here all the time.
Well, I have a question or two, if I may, Glenn. You were saying earlier, and I tend to agree with you about if you can get the user interface right, if you can get 90% of the features for 90% of the things you want to do 90% of the time, you're kind of getting there. You also mentioned that you were a really big FM fan, as indeed Robbie is, and so am I. I bought a DX5 brand new. And I also noticed, this is a long-winded one, I also noticed you've got the Matrix above you, the Matrix 12. All of these things had something in common. With the DX5, when I got that, the ability to be able to modulate things. And therefore, I always found the DX5 to be one of the most analog-sounding synths out there. I thought it was an astonishing thing. You could make it dance rather than just doing the digital stuff. Same with the Matrix 12, you had a lot of possibilities that just weren't available elsewhere. So the question is, bringing all of that together for the Leviasynth, how did you end up just, working out how many modulation patches and paths there are, sources and destinations, and how much does that playability? You had a T8, so poly aftertouch is clearly very important, as it is to me. So how much of that fed into this, and was it because it feels like you kind of brought all of those things together to deliver this synth? Can you tell us a little bit about that, about how they all worked into this kind of design?
Yeah, I mean, this thing's been one of the most important products in my life. I've had that since '85, I think. I got to see Marcus Ryle at the NAMM show, and I always tell him how he's my hero because, I get starstruck more by guys like him and Dave Rossum, the guys who help direct my path of stuff. That thing's got huge modulation capabilities, so I wanted to do even more. I learned on a Moog modular at Pasadena City College. I love the modular synth ability. I like to be able to kind of do whatever, have the LFO modulate the envelope that modulates the LFO. So I like that. I just like that kind of a depth on a synth. My nightmare synths are the ones that you can't do much on. So when people always ask, what synths do you love and which ones do you hate? And I always say, I hate the Juno 106 because it was like they stripped everything off of it they could, but still call it a synth. And it was just one of those things that just frustrated me, especially at that time. I don't think I hate it as much. I think I don't like what it represented at that time in the market, because I had the Prophet 5 and I wanted more and more and more, and everybody was going, no, we're giving you less and less and less. And that wasn't just Roland, it was Korg did that as well. And everybody kind of, let's give you less. Less is more.
I think the other thing which I found interesting was you were mentioning the number of people, the different luminaries that were playing on your stand, playing the Leviasynth on the stand. Those are all players, and for them, for anyone that's a player, it's about the articulation. That must feel like some vindication that all of those players are there using this, and that means that you've got the articulation, the ability to express, to make it an instrument rather than just a box with knobs on. You've really got that right. What kind of feedback have you had from those guys?
We've had great feedback. Yeah, at the stand we had the amazing keyboard player Scott Kinsey, another great one, Chris Fishman, and then John Beasley, who's another amazing keyboard player. All these guys were playing it and using it, and it's always a delight to get to see this. I'm a failed musician, so I get to be near great musicians, but I'm definitely not one of them. I want to build instruments. I don't like just building gadgets. There's plenty of people that can take a gadget and do something really cool with it. But I really want to be able to hear these guys. So I love seeing that, the Deluxe was on tour with the Pat Metheny group for the last couple of years. I love seeing that. I like seeing people at the top caliber of musicianship being able to play the instruments that we make, and so we try to keep that as part of the ethos in what we build and how we build it.
You're muted, Robbie.
You're muted.
Hey, muted.
I am sorry. There's me talking about audio professionalism.
Your turn.
Yeah, thank you. It was my washing machine. My wife has had the wonderful idea of putting the washing machine, which is just in that corner or the other side of that wall. So that's why I muted myself. That's my excuse. Anyway, no. What I was going to ask was, during the development process of Leviasynth or any synth, do you involve performers and artists during that development stage to get that sort of feedback early on before you get to a point where you can't change the things that they would like to change? Do you involve artists and musicians and performers at any point in the development?
We try to. I mean, the reality is by the time you have a working prototype, you've already spent money on tooling that you can't get back. So, your thing has to be pretty close to what you want. So a lot of times, you'll get somebody's feedback. Oh, I wish you did this. I wish you did this. I wish you. It's like, yeah, that ship sailed because we've already spent $100,000 in tooling. And so, when you write the spec and when you're drawing your pictures, you've got to really be thinking through this workflow and make sure that this workflow is good. We do things in our products are all metal. So sheet metal's a little easier. Like, we need to add a punch here and add a button or something. So you can do little things. And then you can definitely do features and get input on features from people. And we've got, a huge number of people that we get feedback from. But, again, 99% of all the development that goes into here is stuff that it's being done by our team. And then we get input from, valuable input from others. But a lot of times the ship has sailed, especially on physical things.
But I guess after 88 other synths until you got to this, you've got a pretty good idea of what's going to work, right?
I don't know. I never know. If the product's going to work.
Far too modest.
I really never know. I'm just like, it's always like, I hope it's good. I hope it's good. I think this is a good idea.
Yeah.
And then when you get it and you get to actually spend some time with it, and it's like, oh, yeah, we nailed it, or oh wow, we really missed this, or and every product has that. There's not a single product I've ever made that there's not a, oh man, I wish I would have done this differently, or I wish I would have.
Is the effects section in the Leviasynth carried over from the Hydra synth, or is it a new effects, new reverbs, or anything that's in there? Is there anything new in that?
No, the effects section is pulled from the Hydra synth.
Okay.
So we've had good feedback on that.
Yeah, that's because it is very good. The effects in the Hydra synth are great.
Yeah, like the digital filter. It's like the Hydra synth digital filters sound really good.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
So,
what analog filter is it you've got in there?
We ported them from the old platform to the new platform.
Okay. What analog filter is it you've got in there, Glenn?
Really good ones. I can actually say, because we weren't sure if we could, but engineer Cyril Lance did our analog design, and he was the ex-head of engineering for Mode. So,
very good.
He did a great job on that, along with one of our guys in Shanghai. And then the big thing was the pre-drive circuit that he did as well. That we didn't want like a distortion overdrive, but we wanted to hit the filters be able to hit the filters harder. And that was something that I recently saw, Tom Oberheim talk about. I knew that he did it, going back to the SCMs and the OBXs and OBXAs, and that, he pushed them a little bit harder, and it just makes it bigger. And that's why those old Oberheims have that just big, thick sound.
That's the whole thing with saturation, isn't it?
Yeah, well, gain staging is super important. I'm not going to go down a rabbit hole on that, but gain staging, Ken, not going to go down that rabbit hole. But gain staging is really, really difficult. That's probably the hardest part. We've probably spent 9 months in just gain staging, and on this, it's extra hard because you have to be able to do a single oscillator sine wave and be able to use your drive control and have it drive and not go clipping crazy, or take 8 oscillators of sawtooth waves, or waves being modulated into crazy high harmonic loud content waves, and not have it with the drive all the way down, have it still driving. You still need to be able to go clean. So that is a huge amount of gain that you have to be able to deal with. And, at the surface, people kind of go, oh, well, you can do some kind of automatic gain staging, compressor on the thing. And you're like, well, you can't. What if I have a 1 oscillator sound that starts off and it fades out, and then 8 oscillators come in and go out? So you're going to get like a compressor pumping thing happen.
Yeah.
And your dynamic range is going to go away. So you can't do that stuff. So building that gain staging is critical, and the analog filters make it that, because in digital you can do it easily. You can just you can scale things if you're doing things in 32-bit or something.
Yeah,
it's easy in digital, but when you go into analog, it's just like a mixing console now. It's like, oh, say I got to be able to do minus 60 dB to plus 18. And clean to distorted.
Clean all the way through. Yeah.
If anybody wants
cool.
to kill some time about Leviasynth and its gain staging, Ken Flux Pierce has done a video on
very
his
good
channel.
video on it, actually. It's a very good video.
And if anybody's going to give you some good insight into Leviasynth, it is Ken, who is, of course, in the chat. Welcome, sir. Always good to have you around. I want to talk more about Leviasynth and maybe Diosynth as well, and bring in questions from people. I'm conscious that Glen's been doing a lot of talking, so I want to give his voice a little rest. But we're going to just run a couple of trailers here, because don't forget, we have got coming up on the 21st of March, we are putting on our own synthesizer show. It's no NAM, but it's not like any other. It's quite a small affair, but we thought we'd start small, and we're starting it off in the lovely seaside town of Dawlish here in the UK. And it's happening on March 21st, and it's an all-day event. So there's an expo during the day, and then there's a gig in the evening where we have 4 musicians who are going to be providing musical entertainment for us. Opening for us is our very own Peter James Stephen, who has been doing the bulk of the work for this, so massive thank you to Peter. So he's going to open the show. He's then going to be followed by the one and the only, the legend in his own zip code. It is Dr. Mike McAuley will be following on his heels, with a special guest, I'm told. And then following him, one of our very own heroes, Mr. Ty Unwin, will be giving a very, very rare live performance. So that was exciting. But if that wasn't exciting enough, our headline act is Mr. Dave Bessel, who is probably best known as 1/4 of electronic music supergroup Node, who he does with Ed Buller, Flood, and who's the other guy whose name has just completely gone out of my head? Mel Wesson. Oh, how could I forget Mel Wesson? So anyway, Dave is 1/4 of that, but he's also a classically trained musician at the Royal College of Music. He's a big exponent of physical modelling, synthesizers and analog and modular and all this kind of stuff. And he contacted us. We didn't have to go to him. He came to us and said, "Can I play at your show?" And we're like, "Yeah." So he's the headline act. So that's in the evening. And then during the day, we've got developers and community members, and we've got some manufacturers. We are, fingers crossed, still trying to tie it down, but it looks like it's going to happen. Korg will have a presence there as well. So we've got some of the big boys coming in, so that's nice. But it's a lot of small manufacturers and small enthusiasts and record labels and all sorts of people going to be displaying their wares and talking to you. There'll be live music throughout the day event as well. We've got a local 80s electropop band giving us some music in around lunchtime in the afternoon. And it's all happening in Dawlish, which is this lovely seaside town. So do come along to that. I kind of bigged it up here, but here's Peter actually in Dawlish telling us all about it.
This March, Dawlish becomes the beating heart of electronic sound. Welcome to the Pro Synth Network's Synth Southwest Expo, a celebration of synthesizers, sonic exploration, and live electronic music. Join us on Saturday, March the 21st at the Strand Centre, Dawlish, for a day packed with synth demos, modular rigs, hands-on gear, workshops, and showcases from passionate creators across our region.
Join us here at the Strand Centre for the Expo during the day. The festival is not for profit, so all proceeds from ticket sales and donations will be shared equally between the Strand Centre here in Dawlish, the Bob Moog Foundation and the Alan R. Perlman Foundation.
Whether you're a seasoned sound designer, a curious beginner, or just love cool tech and great vibes, there's something for everyone. And when the sun goes down, the sound comes alive.
So the music will continue here at the Shaftesbury Theatre, where we'll be showcasing music from electronic artists from around our community.
Bringing you ambient soundscapes, pulsing rhythms, and full-on audio-visual immersion.
So join us, won't you?
That's the cleanest that JP4's ever been.
I know, and no Peters were harmed in the making of that video. Can't say the same for the synthesizers donated lovingly by our very own Kent Spong. Don't worry, those synths were way dead before we took them to the season.
Well, one of them was an Andromeda Ray 6. I mean, it was basically dead when it came out of the box.
Harsh, but fair.
You know what I like.
If you want to come along, tickets are still available. So there you go. There's the web address, synthsouthwest.com. If you are one of these young people with fancy mobile phones and stuff, you can scan that barcode, QR code, whatever it's called. You can do that now, and it will take you to synthsouthwest.com, where you can book your tickets. How much are the tickets, I hear you ask? They're not that expensive. They're £10 for the day and £10 for the evening, or if you want to come all day, 18 quid. So you get a little bit of a discount if you commit to the whole day. And as Peter said in that video, it's not for profit. We're not making any money out of this. Any profits we do make after we pay, obviously, the venues for their services, any profits will be split equally between the community centre that we're using, the Strand Centre, and then the Bob Moog Foundation and the Alan R. Perlman Foundation. So hopefully we'll have plenty of money to give to all those three amazing causes. None of this is going back into our coffers. So we're just doing this really for the love of the community. So please, if you want... Go on, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question. That Leviasynth that you've got sitting there seductively to your one side, is that going to be making an appearance, do you think?
It was mentioned to me, and I think maybe we should, don't you?
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We're not going to be displaying anything actually as a channel at our own show, because we wanted to make sure that there was enough space for everyone. But yeah, I'm sure I'll be able to bring the Leviasynth. I'll definitely also be bringing that thing that's just underneath or above my finger there, which you can just see, which is the Osprey 8. Do you remember that? The analog drum machine from Bad Dog Designs. We're bringing that out. Actually, that'll be at Synth East as well in Norwich next month. So we'll be bringing some bits and bobs. So yes, Synth Southwest, please do come along. Another plug I want to mention right now, apart from the ones in my hair, is the interaction that we love to get from our audience in the form of Synthspirations. Synthspirations, what is Synthspirations? Well, guess what? We've got a trailer for that as well. We want to know what music inspired you to make music with synthesizers. Be it an album, single, or an entire artist's body of work, we want you to tell us why it inspired you, and given that we're a synth show, which instruments used on that album really made an impact. All you need to do is film yourself talking about your synthspiration for a few minutes, and we'll feature it on the show and discuss it. Send your video clips along with your name or handle to prosynthnetwork@gmail.com using a file sharing service like WeTransfer, and you could feature on a ProSynth Network live show soon. It's true, you can. All you got to do is just film yourself, or as you've seen with many of our other Synthspirations submissions, people don't necessarily want to appear on camera. We get that. So if you want to just maybe put together a collage of album covers as I did there, or pictures of you performing, or whatever it might be. We've had some brilliantly inventive submissions, but all of them have told us about the music that has inspired you, our audience, to get into this world of electronic music and synthesizers. And I can honestly say, I think I can speak for everyone that's on the show, that every time we see a Synthspirations, we get inspired and go and discover something completely new that we've either never heard of before or have kind of been meaning to listen to, and now we've got a real kind of reason to go and do that. So if you have some inspirations that from electronic music, please do let us know. Make that video, and if you want to go and see those other videos, if you are a Patreon member or a YouTube channel subscriber, all of those videos are available to you separately, individually, cut from the shows, plonked into in their own little space, so you can go and check those out if you want to see what else has been done by other people. So there you go, Synthspirations, Synth Southwest, and I think that's pretty much all the promos I want to do. Before we go back to Glenn, just remember that if you want to ask a question, please do stick it into the chat. Put a big capital Q in front of it so that we can pick it out and put it in the bucket. We've got plenty of questions lined up there. We've also heard from Nick Howes, who I said earlier at the top of the show has not been very well. He's clearly up and about and on the mend, which is great to hear. He's gifted 5 ProSynth Network memberships, so I don't know who got those, but if you did, make use of them. Go and grab all of that free stuff. And he did also just want to say thank you to everyone for the messages of support and keeping his spirits up. It's our pleasure, mate. You are an important part of our community. You ask the most questions, which is great because sometimes we don't get any. So we can always rely on you to ask questions of our guests and of ourselves. So great to hear from you, and really, really good to know that you are on the mend. So keep it up, take it easy, and don't go back to work too soon. Make the most of it. Yeah. So before we go back to Glenn, I just we've been talking about Leviasynth. And I'm sure that most people have heard Leviasynth in action, whether it's through our own review that we did, or whether it's through other people's reviews or demos that you've seen from various places online from NAMM. I'm going to play this one because I thought we might get a copyright strike when we threw this one up, but we didn't. So I'm going to dare to play it again, and who knows, we might get it. But this was a brilliant demo from Kayla from M83. And it is, it's great. Just watch the speakers move on the speaker stacks either side of it. It's brilliant. Have a look at this. This is Leviasynth, both desktop and keyboard versions, being used by a proper musician. Are we getting any sound there?
It's muted.
It is. That's weird.
You can hear how quiet the synth is.
That's terribly embarrassing.
That's very clean.
That's an impressive
Very
noise
clean.
floor.
Impressive noise floor on it.
That's weird.
really
Great
clean.
gain staging.
The gain staging was amazing on that.
Amazing.
It's almost as good as that Prophet 5 I've got.
Let's have a look. See if I can do it from here. That's embarrassing, isn't it? Honestly. Right, let's see if I can do it directly from YouTube itself. Why it didn't bring the sound down, I have no idea. Right, here we go. Let's see if we can do this properly. Share this tab. There it is. Put it on screen. Full screen. Here we go. There's sound.
Yay. Should we mute ourselves then?
go. How about that, boys and girls? That's a bit special. Caleb there from M83, video by Extraordinary, and yeah, great way to show off the breadth of sound that this thing can make. It is quite astonishing. One question that actually came up, and I was going to ask this myself, so thank you, Dr. Mike, for doing this. Were the drums in that video and that track, were they Leviasynth too, or was that something separate?
There was a mix. So there was mostly sounds that were made with a Leviasynth for drums, but then I think they layered in a 909, and they layered a snare as well. But yeah, they're a mix of Leviasynth and
it's completely possible to make drum sounds with this thing. I mean, it's completely possible to make any sound, really, to be honest.
Yeah,
it is something rather special.
We love Kayla. That's she's
got a great relationship with the band, haven't you?
Oh yeah. Anthony and I go back to Arturia days. Anthony did a video for us on Microbrute and Mini Brute, and yeah, he's an awesome guy, great composer, done a lot of cool stuff. He did music for a Cirque du Soleil that sadly COVID ended up shutting down the show, and they didn't bring it back, but they did tour part of the US, and I'm mad that I was out of town when it was here and I didn't get to see it.
I think they're setting up in London at the moment. They're doing a residency.
They're in London, at
the Royal Albert Hall, aren't
Royal
they?
Albert,
But
amazing.
Kayla's got her own album out.
Yes,
called Superliminal, and you can find her. Kayla's music is her Instagram.
I knew we should have got Ken on the show. The drums were created by myself. This is Ken here in the chat, and I think Daniel added 909 for something. So I mean, that's pretty impressive stuff. Talking about sound design, and Scotty, please jump in, because you are a professional sound designer. What challenges did you and your sound design team, who included the likes of Dr. Manny Fernandez, Matt Baxley, who's a great friend of ours, and many others, Paul Schilling, some of the names have dropped right out of my head, but there was a great team of sound designers on board. Jexus was another one. What challenges did they face? Was it did they find it like they could do anything with it, or were there, did you have any issues with the sound design? And what was your brief in terms of coming up with the factory presets? Because they're very important. They essentially can sell the synthesizer for you.
Yeah, the challenges for sound designers is that they're typically working on alpha and beta hardware and software. So they're not working on a final fleshed out user interface. They're not working with a manual. They're working on early units. So they're dealing with bugs and crashes and features that are not quite complete. It's like, oh, here, work on this section, but don't work in this section yet. So sound design is always hard. When people, I don't like the factory sounds on something. It's like, okay, well, you never had to design sounds on a product that wasn't done. It's really easy to now take this finished product and do sound design. Easy. But to do it starting 6 or 8 months ago, not so easy.
Yeah, I bet. And you've got a really big range of sound designers in. I mean, obviously people like Manny, who are like FM legends, but also players like Matt, who's just this incredible performer. I'm sure he's going to be designing sounds that he wants to take out on the road and play. I know Manny's philosophy is push something, find the breaking points. That's where the interesting stuff is. How do you select the people? Are they people that you know well, or that you've maybe heard their work and you want them involved? How do you go around selecting those people?
Most of them are people we know and we've worked with. So we've either worked with them or somebody we know has worked with them. In the cases of like Paul Schilling goes back to my Arturia days. He had an Origin, and he did a bunch of great sounds and just sent them to us and said, hey, here's some sounds. You could release them if you want, or do whatever you want with them. And they were great sounds. And so because he did that, then I started hiring him for Arturia sound design projects. Same thing with our guy Roger, who's based in Norway. He sent us 128 Hydrosynth patches, said, I was thinking about selling these, but here you guys can have them and, see if they're any good. And they ended up being great patches. And so I've hired him for a whole bunch of other stuff since then. So a lot of times it starts off like somebody will give you some sounds and you go through them and it's like, wow, these are amazing. Let's work with them. There's other people that like we had never worked with Juxus, but we know that he had done Hydrosynth sounds and his sounds are very hugely popular that he does. I wanted to try to get a broad scope of people, like from pure sound design to pure player. So like a guy like Matt's the pure player probably. So we try to get a scope of that. We kind of focused more towards player sounds, I would say, because the reality is that there's a big chunk of the market that they buy them, they just want to turn sounds and use them, and then they might turn a cutoff knob or something. But you could do a lot of one-note wonders, hit a note and like let it go for an hour or 2 hours and see what it does. But then it's its own song. You're not designing a sound, you're designing a song. And that's a song that nobody else can use. Yeah. Or the first person who gets one can use it, put it out right away, and then everybody else is copying them.
Yeah, exactly. How much? Because I remember when I was collaborating with Steve Howell on the Elisa's Fusion, which still gives me a little tingle of horror.
He was a great guy.
Oh man, he was. But the thing that he taught me was, he would tell me stories about not just the patch design, but where those patches exist on the synthesizer. Because back in the day, obviously, we used to have bricks and mortar stores that we all had in our towns and our cities, and we could go in there, and it was generally you always put your best patch in slot A1. What was the Korg M1? Was that Universe?
Universe.
So you put like Universe. That was always A1.
It's the Combi. Combi one wasn't patch one,
though, wasn't it?
Digital Native Dance.
Digital Native Dance. They were all right at the front of that. Yeah. And the reason I bring the Fusion up is because the Fusion had was the piano library that they licensed, didn't they? I can't remember. Q Up Arts. It was the Q Up Arts piano. Was the first patch, and then the next patch was another piano, and then the third patch. Guess what? It was another piano, and there was like 10 pianos with the first, and it didn't have the wow factor, and it was competing in the market, against the likes of Korg and Roland with their workstations, and their first patches were these are great, and then the Fusion was just like piano. How important is the location of patches in a synthesizer like Leviasynth? That patch number one, whether it's in the singles or the multis, is that hook that drags people in, because most people don't buy their gear now in a store. They don't test it until they get it in their studios, and then they've already made the commitment. How important is where you put these things?
I like to give people a tour. So I like the first 20 or so patches. It should be kind of just a tour. So, I think like suppressive on the Hydrosynth was really the goal of that sound was how can I take, one oscillator, a filter, and out, and show how expressive this can be with poly aftertouch. So that was the goal of that sound, was really to demonstrate poly aftertouch and how powerful that is. Because a lot of people don't know you still talk to people or see them online and, oh, my keyboard has aftertouch. It's like, well, no, it has aftertouch, but it doesn't have poly aftertouch. And they don't understand why or what the difference is, or why they would use it. Or they think they have to be a great player to use it, and you don't. I mean, you can just make a claw, and if you can kind of push on notes, you can use it. The sound design stuff is hugely important, especially, you power it up, what are you going to hear? I still like to have functional sounds, and we can go back to Digital Native Dance sold 1 billion D50s. And me and a friend of mine who I used to work at with Roland with, we were joking. the other day, because we had all these bands in the late 80s that, they would start their club set and they would turn down the lights and they'd hit a low note on Digital Native Pants and they'd fade up the lights and they'd go into their Bon Jovi song or whatever. And and it kind of just got to be this thing of, another band is doing this. So we kind of joked about that the other day, but I tend to like playable sounds, but I want it to be a tour. Yeah. I want it to be, you're going through the smorgasbord. Oh, they've got a little bit of chicken. They got a little bit of fish. Yeah. Here's the vegetarian options. Here's the...
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, on let's see if I've got this all set up. So on Leviasynth, the opening, the first patch is this, which is a nice kind of analogy. I think if people come to this thinking, is this an FM synth? And it's got the poly aftertouch. It's simple, but it says, oh, hang on a minute, maybe it isn't just FM. Then you go to patch 2, which is a replication of one of my favourite patches of all time. Is that Liquid Strat, or the Strato DX, or Liquid Stack? There you go.
My Emacs right here, and that's the sound that boots up on that. Is that?
I mean, it's a classic FM sound, and there it is at position 2. But then as we go through, you've got all sorts of things, and then when you get into the multis, man, these guys have done some incredible things. I think in my review I talked about the fact they've attempted a recreation of Syrah, this famous, very raspy vocal sound from the Fairlight. It's not the same, but it's bloody good. It's ballpark.
It's in the neighborhood.
Yeah, it really is. It's such a versatile instrument. And if you want to watch that review, it's on our channel. Go and check it out. We've got some questions. I want to throw some questions from our audience in. And guys, Scott, Andrew, Jason, and Kent, if you have anything, please do stick.
I do have a question. Remember the one we were talking about earlier?
Go on. I can't remember what that was now.
Right, Glenn. When you would, I mean, I noticed it on the Hydra 49, but much more on the Deluxe. And the idea was, you said about looking at, influences from other keyboards. But I couldn't help thinking there was an awful lot of CS80 characteristics in her. The glide strip with the poly aftertouch and sort of like, and I don't know if when you were last on, if I thanked you properly, because it's sort of like, oh my God, somebody's finally bloody listening to me, because I had this suddenly big keyboard with poly aftertouch, the glide strip and everything else, and she's even capable of doing very, very good 80 like atmospheric sounds as well. And was that in the development stage, was that one of the machines then that you were thinking, if we could do something like her, we're on a winner?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the CS80 was one of the most musical synths, I'll say. So Hydrasynth was really, if I say its parents were CS80, PPG, and Oberheim Expander, that's probably its parentage. And probably the things that influenced me the most in the original goals of the product.
I mean, now you say, I mean, obviously CS80 was, but now you say CS80 and the Oberheim. It makes sense. It does when you of course, and of course the PPG as well.
And PPG was something I could never afford, but it was my dream synth in the 80s.
Yeah, you and me both. I had to go on a full PPG system with wave term and the big master keyboard. Oh, just sounds just amazing. Not enough money, not enough room, not enough time. Anyway, we've got some questions from our audience here, so let's see if we can bring some of these in. Where was that one? Okay, here's one from Nick. Get him in first. With so much criticism in the past of Chinese manufacturing, do you think ASM have finally laid that myth to rest?
Yes.
Glenn?
All these companies are building products in China.
Yeah.
You can take, there's one brand that was like known as the USA Synth, and it's like they're getting their chassis in China, they're getting their PCBs done in China, they're getting their keyboards in China. They're either getting them in China or they were getting them out of Italy or Tunisia. And it's like, okay, well, they're putting it all together in the US. So it's like, the reality is, this Apple phone is pretty cool piece of tech, and it's built very well, and so is my Apple laptop here.
Yeah.
I think that there's holdover from other stuff, and you can definitely find Temu stuff that's like crap.
Yeah.
But the fact is that our factory builds a lot of the products that people don't know that they build. We say that Modeli is the biggest company that nobody's ever heard of.
Yeah.
Jokingly, but there's, UK companies, there's companies out of Europe that build there, there's companies out of the US, there's companies out of Japan that build there. Yeah,
absolutely. No,
whatever.
Agree. There is a very common question coming in.
Not to be dismissive of it, but it's like, it's all these companies are building there. And they're building great products.
You can build great. The Chinese build great stuff, and they also build bad stuff, just like every country in the world.
Just like everywhere else.
Exactly. So
it's about budget and it's about quality. We shifted when I was at EMI. We shifted to Japanese to Chinese manufacturing around about 99, 2000, because it was faster, cheaper, better attention to detail. It reduced the overheads massively, and it made that technology affordable. So let's not go there with that. It's anyone that thinks that it's cheap and nasty is just talking out of their hat. They really are.
So they're usually typing it on a computer that was made there. So.
Exactly.
Bingo.
Go and have a test drive in a BYD and then get back to me.
Exactly. There's been a number of questions that have all been along the same line, so I'll just kind of flip through them, but you'll get the gist of what it is. So Uncle Chrome asked early on, what colour will the Leviasynth Explorer 666 edition be? Robert asked, I know it's way too early, but will there be iterations like the Hydra? Will there be a pure digital version for us purely poor people? Is the effects section upgradable? That kind of leads into another question from Yannisetta, who's asking about 32 voice Hydras on the new platform. Do you have any space left to add more features? Will we be seeing something along the lines of the Explorer for Leviathan? So basically two questions there. That's the question. You've got the two formats at the moment, desktop, which is also rack mountable, and VESA mountable, as we can see in your screen. You've got the 61 note keyboard. Can we expect, I think I know the answer to this, can we expect smaller Explorer versions? Can we expect a deluxe 73 key version? And based on that platform, this new super powerful platform, is there the potential for expansion within the Leviasynth itself in terms of new features? And also, will we see maybe a HydraSynth 2 using the new platform and expanding on itself? So, kind of three questions there.
Three questions, all with no comment.
Yeah.
We don't ever talk about what we might do or we might not do, because you never know.
I was just going to say.
Yeah.
There's some of those questions I definitely know the answers to, but I'm not going to comment on anything.
Sure.
I don't want to sell vaporware. I really hate when other companies do that. And there's been companies that have done it in the past with the best intention to further their product, but then for whatever reason they couldn't. So I don't never do that.
No,
or we don't do teasers.
Well, I tell you what, then a product suggestion for you for the 666: have it in flame red. The horns are sort of like beam controllers, and the keyboard stand comes with it, and they're made like goat's legs.
Yeah,
sell it to the heavy metal bands.
That's a winning combination right there.
I reckon that would sell, mate.
Or you could pick you pick your mammal legs that you want on it.
Yeah,
you could do. Yeah, if you get the horse's legs, it actually runs faster.
Isn't it Chromio that has those legs as his keyboard stands? I think they're weird.
Yeah,
very strange.
Very weird.
So
I don't.
No.
That's part of our thing is we don't talk about what we're working on or what. When we announce it, that's when it's a thing.
Yeah.
Well, you've technically answered the question by saying no comment. No comment is an answer.
Yeah.
To the question.
Yeah,
you've answered the question.
It's not the answer people want to hear.
Yeah, but
can we talk about a question for an answer that I think most people don't. It's been talked about. So, there's been a lot of talk about the difference in price between the UK, Europe, and the US. I was just wondering, you must be aware that some people have been sort of a little vexed about it. I understand there's a whole bunch of stuff to do with import duties, taxes in this country and in Europe, and also VAT or whatever the applicable tax is that boosts, that boots it up. Have you any thoughts about that? Is that something which has crossed your table, and have you anything, any observations on that?
Yeah, I mean, that stuff crosses our table constantly. So the first thing, I guess, to wrap it all up in the easiest answer is that in the USA, we have a thing called MAP, which is called minimum advertised price. So in the USA, we're allowed to say, okay, dealers, you can only advertise it at this price. Now, of course, they buy it for a price lower than that to get their margins. But that originally came about in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s. And it came because there was kind of predatory behavior between big dealers and the small mom and pop dealers. So the big dealers could buy things, they're buying 100 of them instead of 1 or 2 of them. And so they'd get them at a discount. Well, they'd end up being able to sell the products for less money than the small dealers could buy it for. And so, back in Los Angeles, when I was a kid in the 80s, buying synths, there were probably 10 good synthesizer stores in the LA Basin area. And then by the late 90s, that became 2. And a lot of that was because the dealers were like, yeah, we're not going to order synths, or we can't compete against these other guys that are doing this stuff. So USA now has MAP pricing. So you can say, this is the lowest you can advertise it for. You can sell it for whatever you want to sell it for, but this is the lowest you can advertise it for.
Okay.
The EU MAP is illegal. You're not allowed to have that because they think it's price fixing, which it's not.
Yeah.
You can still sell it for whatever you want, but you can't advertise it for less than a certain amount. So in the EU, because they don't have MAP, they have MSRP. So it's manufacturer's suggested retail price. So that's much like it was here in the 60s, 70s, 80s, where people dealt with a suggested retail price. So that's just our suggestion. And then because there's different territories, some that overlap between different distributors, there's some distributors in certain countries that are also the biggest dealer in that country. So they're buying it at a distributor price, but they're selling it at their stores, and they can advertise it just above a distributor cost versus just above a dealer cost. So there's that stuff, and that usually works itself out after some amount of time. So
usually
that's probably the biggest thing it's a difference of MAP versus MSRP.
Right.
Yeah. So it's about the perceived value, and we all know that on launch these are going to sell for close to retail, right? They're going to, or whatever the suggested manufacturing retail price is, and then people start doing deals. So I guess what you're saying is that actually the pricing is pretty comparable, one country to another. It's just how you're allowed to advertise it and how you're allowed to suggest what the retail price is. Is that right?
Yeah. If we try to do a MAP in the EU, we'll get shut down because it's totally illegal to do that there. And then there's definitely factors of currency exchange rates.
Yeah.
VAT, shipping, the fact that you sell to a distributor. In the US, we're our own distributor, but in every other country, we work with third-party distributors. So there's, you can build a product, but the real complexities come in selling and shipping that product.
Yeah,
it's more in your work.
It's really been a bit of a storm in a teacup about pricing. That's my take on it anyway. I think it's going to be comparable across all the territories over time.
I guess it all kind of shakes itself out once the product starts hitting the street and that everyone sees what everyone else is selling it for. Certain retailers will drop the price or maybe raise the price. And it'll all kind of balance out, won't it? Eventually.
Exactly.
Yeah. So there we go. It's one of those things. So hopefully that's answered people's questions regarding the pricing. It turns out Dominic was going to join us in the show, but when we started the show, it was 3 a.m. in Hong Kong.
Yeah, it's 4:30. Dominic, what are you doing up?
I know, right? Crazy.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in. One day we'll try.
Here, but I wasn't going to demand he show up at 3 a.m. Hong Kong time.
No, that's crazy.
Working a NAMM show and a Buchla show, and hopefully not getting sick.
Probably still.
My allergies are killing me, so that's why my squinting and everything, my eyes are like,
I bet.
problems there after all that.
Jet lag.
Yeah. Dominic is the product manager. So we maybe we'll get him on one day, and maybe we'll do a special or pre-record it or something. But we'll set that up.
Dominic's a great guy, and he's, again, he did the heavy lifting on this thing and Hydrocenter. It's really, people give me the credit, but really it's, me and him and, Ken and Randy and Alex, and
but not so much Ken.
Engineers Bob and it's a whole team of people. I don't do all this stuff.
Poor old Ken.
We love you, Ken. We do. We really. In fact, Ken was great because even though I didn't properly take him up on his offer, he sent a video through last year of just going through the thing so that I could get a grasp of it. Because when it first arrived, it was init patch across the whole thing. There was nothing inside of it. So thankfully, Ken sort of got me going with it. So he's a great resource. And then Manny sent me a few of his patches so I could get an idea of what a proper sound designer was doing with this thing. And it was when the factories landed in it, it just sprung into life with all these brilliant people's work. Matt wants to know, why can't we get ASM merchandise in the UK?
Again, it's a thing of, we work with third-party distribution. So we make the ASM merch, we make it here in the USA. I've got a place that they do my stuff, and I don't know if you can see in the background over there somewhere, I got a bunch of skateboards. I used to work in skate industry sideways doing videos and stuff. So some of our suppliers, they do a lot of silk screen stuff. So we've got a place that does our shirts and hats and all that. The only reason we don't is because the shipping costs are stupid. We could do that. We don't really have a good fulfillment to be able to do this stuff, especially in other territories. So, you want to buy a $25 shirt or $30 hoodie or something, you're going to have $50 in shipping costs to get it. We haven't figured out how to do that on a global basis yet. So if we figure that out, then we'll definitely do it. It's not, we want people to have it everywhere, but we just don't have the ability to do that on a global basis.
Have to have a word with Fiona.
Yeah, we had a similar issue with our stuff, in that we had people in America wanted T-shirts, and we had a guy who was one-man band who was doing T-shirt printing, and for the UK it was fine, but for the US the shipping and the associated costs just wasn't. So we've partnered with a company that does all of our merchandise. We just design it on their website, and then they have manufacturing deals all around the world. So wherever you order it from, they will always try and use the closest manufacturer to get you at a decent price. So if you order in the UK or the EU, generally it's made in one of those two places. There's still some things that come from the US because it's only the US companies that are doing those things, but it works out quite well, and it means that our colleagues and friends in America can get some decent prices and so on and so forth, and we've shipped all around the world with them.
And some of it, I'll take some of the blame on it as well, but I like to control the quality of the stuff. Like if somebody buys one of our shirts, I've seen people at trade shows that are wearing like 3 and 4 year old shirts of ours, and they still look pretty good. So I try to source a really nice shirt, a really nice hoodie, a nice hat, and whatever we're selling. I try to get high quality ones. And if you're doing like one of those online, printed on your coffee mug, I tried it with a couple of them, and it's like the printing looks bad on this, or the material wears thin, or the silk screen came off, and it's just like, I don't want people doing that stuff.
Absolutely. There goes a message from Dominic there. Thank you for all the great words. It's pure joy working with a great fun team. Also, thanks to Glenn for making the right decisions so that we were able to deliver the Leviasynth properly. I can say, hand on heart, you definitely did do that for sure.
Not an easy decision to make at the time either, I can imagine, when this sort of two-year mark came and you had to sort of say,
hey, we've spent a whole bunch of your money, and now
difficult call.
That's pretty hard.
Could we change direction a little for a second? Would you mind? Because in the videos that we saw, there we go. And the other way, your good side.
It adds an help.
The good side.
I got skin cancer and stuff over here.
Yeah.
That's the side we like. Yeah.
That's better. So, okay, I haven't got tinnitus in this ear. This is much better. Go for it.
A lot of some of the demos we saw from NAMM had one of your guys playing the Dio synth along with someone playing on the Leviasynth. We've not really covered that. You launched that back in November. Do you want to tell us anything about that? Because that is an extraordinary instrument. It really is.
Yeah.
Tell us about your thoughts with that, how that came about.
Yeah.
There you go.
Next to me.
Look at that.
Got it on a stand next to me. So I don't know if you can see. I'll move this out of the way there. That's what I started on back there, was
analog wind instruments.
Analog wind instruments. I mean, that's how I got started. I was a failed sax player. I went to Berklee College of Music.
#musician.
Walking in very proud because I won Outstanding Soloist Awards at local competitions in high school, and walk into Berklee College of Music 10 feet tall, and about a week later realized where I was. I think Branford Marcellus was at the school when I was there. So that was like the big smackdown. But at the same time, I learned enough keyboard. They made me, everybody has to take a keyboard proficiency at Berklee, or they did back in the Stone Age. I learned enough chord stuff that I could, play keyboards, got into synths, and that's launched my synth career. So being a failed sax player launched my synth career. But in about 1988, Yamaha had come up with their WX7. And so for me, sax player, synth player, wanting to do something different, I got into that, using it with this. I've been a wind synth player since '88. Around 1990, I met Michael Brecker at a sax shop here in LA. We became good friends over the years. He introduced me to Niall Steiner. I took Niall fishing on my boat a couple of times, got to just know guys like him, and Judd Miller, Steve Tavoloni, some like the great wind synth players over the years. So that area has always been near and dear to my heart. When I got hired on at Akai, they had already started off doing the Akai 4000S. And so I came into that project early on, and it's like, hey, this is kind of in my wheelhouse, so I can do this. So I got to work on the 4000S, and then later the EVSP. When you see people post online, why do they do something weird like this? And it's like, well, I was a product for Akai for 6 years, so I know what the sales are.
Yeah. It's a huge market, isn't it?
I know what the sales records look like. And the fact is that most people come into music through playing a wind instrument, whether it's their little kid and they play recorder or a tonette or something like that. Most people's entry into music is via a wind instrument. And in the USA, especially Japan, it's the same. You go to any high school and you'll see 30 kids playing sax, clarinet, flutes. And I have to always ask myself, okay, so how many DJs are at this school? How many keyboard players at this school? I see 30 wind players. So it's a big market. It's a sleeper market. You see a company like Roland get 5 or 6 different variations of it. You see Akai still has 2 variations on it. There's a reason. There's a reason why we're doing this. they're not going to do it because it's a failed thing. So this was a thing of opportunity. The parent company, McAuley, was building a wind synth for the Chinese market, which it's like blown up there in the last 6-7 years. So they're like, oh yeah, can you help us design something? So I did, and they sent me the first prototype, and I played it, and I'm like, oh wow, this thing actually plays really nice. It's really, really good. There's something here. So I called Joe from M83, who lives 15 minutes from me, had him come over. I said, Joe, play it. And he played it, and within 30 seconds, he says, oh, I'd get rid of my iwi for this. Wow. And I was like, okay, so we've got something here. So then it was about, what kind of synth can I put into this? And we were able to put the Hydras. Most of the Hydra synth, it's all a bastardization of it. We've taken the Legos of Hydra and kind of patched them into this other thing. So yeah, it's basically a 2-part Hydra synth with a third oscillator being a sample playback oscillator. So you can do acoustic stuff. To me, what's more interesting is mixing acoustic samples with the synthesis engine, and blending them all in. So you've got this kind of natural thing with this synth thing on top.
The articulation on it is superb. And I've seen a few of your demos. Ken is talking about you being a far more talented player than he is. So I'll leave that stuff to him. Well, we know that, Ken. So that articulation, that's what really caught us when we saw it, and we did a review. We were talking to Ken about it in November. How's that been received in the marketplace?
Well, we had 2 very large dealers at NAMM tell us that they went in. Well, one was a really small dealer that went with a huge order, and one was a big dealer with a huge order, and they both told us they were sold out at NAMM.
Wow.
And it had only been shipping for a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Good Lord.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Winner.
These guys, when we first announced it, they kind of went in with small orders, and then they started to get pre-orders, and it's like, oh, they doubled it. Oh wait, they doubled it again. Oh wait, they doubled it again. And I'm like looking at the numbers from our sales manager, and I was like, oh wow, this is some big numbers. So that's good.
Congratulations on that. Really,
brilliant move.
Yeah, it's a joy to play. I mean, it can do things that the other ones don't. Yeah. Like you can split and layer sounds. Really interesting because we've got the Hydrasynth LFOs. You can use them as step sequencers, so you can have like step sequence things playing in the background while you're playing over it. It's from a sound design performance standpoint, I think it's a great instrument. It's not like you're going to play, Body and Soul or take the A Train or something on it, but I guess you could. But to me, it's much more about what interesting people are going to do. So things like what Joe's doing with it. There's a guy, Alfredo Colon, who's doing some stuff. I'm seeing another guy, Scott Paddock, who's doing some cool stuff. We've got some cool instrumentalists doing interesting things with it. So I look forward to see what people do.
There's a really good video on your channel, isn't there? I forget the name of the artist. You literally just put it up the other day. Matt Morantz. Yeah. That's a
Matt's,
really cool
Matt's
jam.
a great musician. Matt, he's an amazing sax player. He also makes custom mouthpieces for high-end clientele.
Oh wow!
I had Bob Mintzer from the Yellow Jackets was here, and Bob is a longtime iwi player. Mm-hmm. And Bob was like, "Oh yeah, Matt was my student back in the day." So Matt's incredibly talented guy.
Yeah. Excellent stuff. Do you have? I mean, I know this is going to be a question. You probably say no comment to, but I'm going to ask it anyway, just to go. You're obviously you're a company that are continuously innovating. The next thing, any kind of ideas where you want to go, where you'd like to go, maybe?
I definitely have some ideas. Some of this I'll blame on Ken, but Ken sent me this.
Oh, kazoo.
Kazoo.
Yeah, with a cool carrying case. So I've been analyzing this a lot,
digitizing,
thinking about how we're going to break into that market. So
that's
our next space.
I'm still trying to work out where you put the vape fluid. So,
Vape fluid.
Yeah.
Oh, the
I thought it was a vape.
Yes. Well,
It's called the vapor.
That's my vape.
this is an alcohol-powered instrument, so.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Somebody asked a question. It was James Dyson in the chat. He asked a question about a companion app for the Leviasynth. So it's no secret that it will use a new version of the ASM Manager application. One thing that we got asked when we were looking at the Leviasynth when that was launched was that there is this companion app that allows you to manipulate the internals of the Leviasynth in the app.
Yep.
Is that something we can maybe hope for the Leviasynth and the Hydrasynth at some point? Some sort of plug-in based controller for those synths?
Well, the Leviasynth needs it because there's not a whole lot of UI that you can fit into this tiny space.
Sure.
Hydrasynth, a two-part Hydrasynth. So you have to have an editor for that. These things, we design them with a workflow in mind. So I don't like doing that. We're also not really a software company. Like for Leviasynth stuff, I had to hire out a third-party team on some of that stuff. So again, I'm not going to speculate on what we will or will not do. But yeah, that's
cool.
Ken. Ken's right.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's certainly things.
I won't say we're not going to do it, but I'm not going to say we are going to do it. A lot of it's my head's still spinning from just trying to get the thing launched. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, understandably.
It's been a spectacular launch. It's gone down, as far as I can see, it's gone down incredibly well. I assume that units will be. I mean, I think one of the things you said to me is that we don't announce anything until boxes are on ships or in the backs of trailers on their way to dealers. So people are going to be able to get their hands on Leviasynth very, very soon.
yes,
in the next week or so, I would imagine that they'll start.
Yeah, yeah. I know that Leviasynths have landed in the United States.
Excellent.
I don't track I'm not in the logistics team, so I don't really know where they are in their path to Europe. But yeah.
Yeah, it's getting close.
Yeah, they're not where they're
absolutely
either on their way. They're either landed or they're on their way to where they're going.
So here's a question for you. I know this is going to be like choosing your favorite child. You've got one of every ASM instrument there. What's your favorite?
I don't have a favorite. The favorite. It depends on what I'm doing. These
Can't ask him that, Robbie.
No, I just did.
Well, no, I mean, it's a fair question, but it's like, all my synths, I don't have a favorite. It's like, these are all tools to make music. So, it's like a carpenter's bag. He might have a hammer that he reaches for most of the time. But then if he needs a framing hammer, he's going to grab a framing hammer. But then if he's doing finished carpentry, he might need a tack hammer or might use an air gun. For different things. So to me, they're tools, they're means to an end. So yeah, I don't have a favorite. I love Hydrasynth because it was ASM's first entry into the market. It was the thing, it was going to be the make or break for us of are we going to be able to do this with a whole new team pulling people together? Are we going to be able to make this product? And is it going to be successful? And it was very successful. So, it'll have a special place in my heart just from that standpoint of, this is the thing that kickstarted it all and allowed us to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And there was
I would imagine Abraham would say the same about the SEM.
Yeah, of course. One final question about the instruments, and it's something I've seen come up quite a lot in discussion forums or discussion areas. And the question is, if I've got a Hydrasynth, do I need a Leviasynth? And I guess the answer is, like you said, it's a tool to do a job. But I found from having both together that they complement each other very well, and they both do wildly different things that the other ones can't do. Do you see the Leviasynth as a companion to the Hydra? Is it or is it something completely different? How do you see those two together?
I mean, I think that they can live in their own space. They can definitely complement each other. They can definitely be their own thing. I'm going to keep these two like this. Actually, I've got, all of these right here. And a lot of times I do most of my work there. There's the stuff I can do on these. I can also do on the other things, but they're not right here. They're not as easy to deal with in a lot of ways. So yeah, again, it's a toolkit. So do you need to expand your toolkit? Do you want a different way of looking at making sound? Do you want a different, breadth of sounds for your thing? Yeah, I'd say, I'm going to be biased and say, yeah, you got to have both. But the reality is, there's people doing great work on plugins. So ultimately we're about musicians making music. Use the tools that you want. We're going to make tools that we think will help people and do things well. But, it's about making music. So get out there and make music.
Absolutely. Obviously, NAMM has just finished. You're recovering, and you deserve some time away from that. Where can people come out and see you guys in around the world in the coming months? Are you going to be at Super Booth?
Yes, we'll definitely be at Super Booth. We're already making plans for that. I was just looking at my dates to see if I could get out to your event. I imagine that our UK distributor Source will probably be at your event. I would think. I'll talk to sales about it.
Yeah,
so I hope we'll be represented there by them. I'm going to be on the other side of the country at that time of that show. So.
But you'll be in Berlin, yeah?
Yeah, we'll be in Berlin for sure. I don't know, Ken, where's the marketing plan? I haven't seen our marketing plan yet.
I know that Source are going to be at
no pressure.
Going to be at Synth East.
Which one?
Synth East, which is the one that's happening next
on
month.
The spot.
Okay.
Answer me, boy.
Yeah, I hope that they'll have something there at your place as well. So
yeah,
I would love to do that.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, if you're not, I will probably take the Leviasynth down so that people can have a little play and listen to them.
Yeah, I mean, we try to hit up a lot of. We like the Synth Expo shows. They do one in, I think, Toronto. They do one in Portland, one in LA, one in Brooklyn. We try to do all those shows because they're always good to get one-to-one with a lot of the customers.
Will you be at NobCon this year?
I believe so. That's my goal. I love NobCon.
Yeah, that's the one I want to get to.
Favorite shows to go to.
I want to get to that one before I want to get to NAMM now, I think.
Yeah, NobCon's a lot of fun. I love the crowd of people
does
there.
a brilliant
job.
Cool.
Do you want me to drive that Leviasynth down to Dawlish for you, Robbie? Just bring it back to your house via
It's a long
Scotland?
way.
I've already offered. I'll take it. No. I'll come and grab it. It's fine.
No.
I'll come and grab it next week, ready for the 20. Yeah, it's fine.
Not on your Nelly. Glenn, listen, it's been great to talk to you again. Thank you for coming on. We really do appreciate it, and come back again anytime you want to, anytime soon.
Invite me whenever.
No, yeah, absolutely, we will. And thank you again, from a personal perspective, for giving us the opportunity to have one of these ahead of time to get used to it, so that we could deliver something for our viewers with the review. And I'm hoping that if we get some time, I might do some smaller bits, demonstrations, and maybe some bits and bobs with it as we go through. So
it would be good to get Ken on there, and then he can talk about gain staging.
Yeah, we should do that. We should absolutely
do a gain staging show.
Wow, yeah, that's one way to lose subscribers. So yeah, no, we love having Ken on. We do, we absolutely do. Sorry, Jason, you're making gestures, but I can't hear you.
I'd watch it over and over again.
There you go.
Yeah, but he's got to do it in that, that kind of voice when he's doing it.
In the nerd.
Yeah, the thing about gain staging is,
I want to go the nerdy voice.
Yes, absolutely.
I like to make sure that the decibel meters are exactly.
It has 8 decibels.
Ken is a critical part of our team, both in our marketing social media stuff, but also in the beta testing and
Yeah.
and his attention to gain staging and things like that. He's the one poking me and Dominic. But what about that? But what about that?
And it's always great to have someone you can take the mickey out of as well, frequently.
A quick question.
He does that
about
to me, and I do that to him. So I think
a really quick question
quick.
about firmware updates going forward. If there are new features, if you think that new features, new modulation, routing, styling, whatever, is that something which you're going to be able to do, and you think you might at some point?
Firmware updates. Yeah. We'll definitely do updates. I mean, we've got X number of people who are on the beta test team, so they can find as many things as they can find. Once people start getting them in their hands, any synthesizer, I don't care how simple or complex it is, you're going to find bugs. So we'll definitely be doing updates to fix things that we find, for sure.
Yeah.
Not just
the
bugs,
testing
but new
doesn't stop
features, I'm
once
sure.
it's launched, does it? No.
Yeah, it's not one and done, especially in firmware-based products. There's always going to be something in millions of lines of code.
Yeah.
For sure. Listen, Glenn, once again, thank you so much.
It's been great.
We really appreciate it. It's been fascinating to hear the story and the journey. I'm sure. I hope that our audience appreciate that as well. And of course, thank you to Andrew, to Jason, to Scott, and to Kent for joining us as always. We'll be back same time, same place next week. I don't know if we've got a guest. We're working on a few, so we'll hopefully have some more interesting people to listen to. But again, thanks to Glenn, everyone at ASM for congratulations on a successful launch, and I hope that Leviasynth will do as well as you hope it do, and better still. Don't forget, you can watch all of our content on our channel. If you are a new subscriber, and so over the last 10 to 14 days, and I'm assuming a lot of this has been driven by the Leviasynth content. I did a short video, literally pulling the blanket off. It was 7 seconds long. It's had nearly 10,000 views. It's bonkers. What the hell? But anyway, if you've joined us as part of that, then welcome. Thank you. Make sure you hit the subscribe and the like buttons and the bells and whatever. Do all of that stuff. We're here every Friday. And if you hit the bells, if we do anything in between that, you'll get notified. Go and watch. If you want to watch the review, we did a 45-50-minute review video on the Leviasynth. So covering, the basics. We didn't go too deep because it's a very deep synthesizer if you want it to be. But we took a look at that. There's some great other content around the internet. Nick Batt did a great video on Sonic State. Go and watch that as well. And we'll be here same time, same place next week. And until then, thank you, Glenn. Thank you, gents. Thank you to Steve in the chat moderating. Thanks to everyone for watching. Have a fantastic weekend. Make loads of great music. And go and support all the other synth channels that are out there. They all deserve it. So take care, everyone. See you all soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.